Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you another edition of Keeping Modern Janky with my Gruul Hydra Tribal deck. This looks like a pretty sweet hand. We have a turn 1 Utopia Sprawl into a turn 2 Domri, which is a familiar start for anyone watching who's watched my Gruul Dragons deck. But rather than top end with 5 mana 4/4 flying hasty dragons, we are going to be casting some Hydras. 1x Hydras that are going to scale up as the game goes along. Normally pick red with Utopia Sprawl, but with the Hydra deck and a blue Chronos that costs triple green, we're going to pick green. And most of our Hydras are green. We really only need one red to function. Let's see, is this going to get prismatic ending or whatever to get rid of this? Utopia Sprawl. Don't do it, opponent. We want our oh, it's going to be Affinity again. And Affinity is real popular. A Lightning Bolt off the top. Spear Sentinel, that's pretty good for our opponent, since we happen to have this Domri in hand. Another land. Well, sad face, they're going to draw a card. Maybe this is Hammer time and not Affinity. So we'll run out this Domri and then we'll get to draw a card. But we gotta keep executing our game plan on time if we're gonna stand a chance, and that means racing. I like the Shivan Devastator here over the Mistcutter Hydra, probably for obvious reasons. Flying and haste and trample. No trample, never mind. But the flying and haste is nice. The evasion. Mistcutter Hydra against what could be a blue-white deck. We forgot to plus up Domri. It's early. This is the first match of the day. On Saturday morning. Hopefully that won't come back to haunt us too much, but it probably will, though. Let's be honest. We need all the loyalty counters we can get against a deck like Hammer Time, so we can start picking off their creatures with our bigger creatures. Or they'll just kill us dead here and it won't matter. Yep. Alright, well, folks, when you cast a Planeswalker, even if you have nothing to do with their pluses, you still want to plus them up. Just a little early morning, Saturday morning lesson for how to play Magic optimally. I wish I could say that was the first time I've done that. Oh, Field of Ruin, now that's a good draw for us. Lets us answer this Ink Moth, but I feel like unless they're going for the one-shot infect kill next turn, I feel like if they had the hammer they would have equipped it. Is it worth the risk? I mean, probably. I don't think we're gonna have much of a chance here by just holding back our Field of Ruin and letting them advance their game plan themselves. If they had the hammer they would have cast it last turn, I think. And if they are really holding back, we're going to do that. If they're really holding back a hammer for an infect kill, that's some pretty good discipline on our opponent's part. And they got us. What can I say? I'm going to run out the Mistcutter as a 4/4. It doesn't have flying. We're hoping Ornithopter decides to block. And then next turn we'll have the Shivan Devastator. Oh, it's a 5/4 because of Domri. We'll have the Shivan Devastator to get through the flying damage. Well, if they do block. Well, they're not going to. They're going to save their Ornithopter for a hammer if they draw one. We could also save this Field of Ruin for Urza Saga if they have a slower hand and don't have the hammer and they need to go find one. Man, we really should have plussed up that Domri. We get 2 activations of... We're not going to be able to protect it, but it would be going down to 2. Possible, or just going down to dead with this thing. Oh, I love Spare Boots. Well, that's going to kill our Domri for sure. And instead of making our opponent use their land to do it, they can just do it with those two because we didn't plus it up. Hopefully that won't cost us the game. Hammer time, this is a nice start for them. It's not their fastest, most obnoxious start unless this is a hammer. Alright. Alright, but this does let them hold back 2 blockers. 2 cards in hand. What do we draw? More lands. So we could take a turn off the Field of Ruin. And then have next turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have a 5/5 Shivan Devastator versus a 4/4 Shivan Devastator. Since all we're doing is drawing lands, I'm just not sure that's where we want to be. The slow. Decisions. I don't know. We're going to take that route. Maybe I should have played the Field of Ruin after combat, so they didn't know it was coming. This might help force a block. I don't know. If they don't block, fine. We don't care. We want their life total to hit 0 no matter what. Normally, if this was a Dragons deck, I'd be slamming that 4/4 Hasty Flying Dragon with this 5 mana. But now... Oh, come on. You know you want to block. Boo and hiss. Boo and hiss. Alright. Fine. Hopefully we don't die to a hammer hit. There's a chance that they go for the hammer and then we hit swing back if they tap down all their creatures. The hammerhead wouldn't kill us if we were able to blow up the Nexus. It would just be very close to killing us. Alright, refilling the hand. Have 1 card in hand, about to get more. What's our best draw right now? Goldvein Hydra. Lightning Bolt. Suit that up, sure. Doing the little lava spur dance. Wonder if they have a protection spell. No? Alright. Guess we'll take a mountain. We already have a basic forest in hand. We're not very color intensive outside of the 1 Pelucranos that's triple green. Since our Hydra spells are all 1 color X. I mean, if their last card was hammer, we'd be in trouble, but... Alright, going to 11. Lightning Bolt would be probably our best draw to get rid of this Ornithopter. And then we could swing in for 8, I believe, if my math is not off. And then they would be dead. So 1 time deck. Or just tap your Ornithopter. Oh, they're going to do shenanigans. Alright. Fair enough, opponent. That's a smart play. Double Shivan Devastator. We're at 11. Man, we just need to fade the hammer a couple turns, huh? We've already faded it once. Can we race? We're not dead. I mean, if they have a hammer, if they draw the hammer, we'll be sad. Because what we can do here is hold back a blocker, essentially. The discipline play would be a hold back a blocker. Swing in with this Mistcutter Hydra. Oh, I don't know what to do. They're gonna have to block. If they get the hammer, that would give us a way to, and then we have the. All right, so we're gonna go with the discipline play. We will attack with the Mistcutter Hydra because of their protection spells that I think protect them from red. Hold back the Mistcutter, or the Shivan Devastator. Okay. Just because next turn we have enough power on board to kill them if they don't hit the hammer. No matter what, it's a 2-turn clock. We might get punished if they end up chaining together a bunch of cards and then finding more blockers or 2 hammers. But I think the greedy play would have been putting them to 3 and then getting killed by a hammer. This way we at least can take a hammer hit, block it, and then have the next Shivan Devastator to come through over the top. Maybe. Oh man, maybe we should have just tried to fade that draw. Forge anew. Okay. Is that a future play? Alright, well they're out of cards and I think they're dead. So we took the safe play, we didn't get punished. We also didn't get unlucky there. We got the opposite. Well, we got very lucky, obviously. So we can just run out another Devastator. Don't need to show them Hardened Scales. Alright, so we got rewarded for our discipline, playing it safe. Unless I'm missing something, this should be lethal, and it is. Alright, I'm about to say, 0 cards in hand. I'm pretty sure I know what Hammer Time does, and there's nothing on the board that lets them somehow stop the damage. Okay, Hammer Time. Well, Force of Vigors. Brotherhood's End. We could also bring in Alpine Moon. That's 9 cards. I don't know what we go out, to be honest, for that. Alright, just chugging my second cup of coffee there so that I don't make silly mistakes, as we say. Alright, I don't know what to do as far as to cut. We need all of the spot removal we have, even bringing in more spot removal is what it feels like. We don't want to go down too many threads, so I think we can trim Hardened Scales, Ozolith type thing. Mistcutter Hydra can get blocked pretty easily. That doesn't mean it's a bad card, though. Maybe don't need all the Brotherhoods in. I kind of want all the Brotherhoods in. Take out Utopia Sprawl. Normally I trim for my Planeswalker package, but I already have trimmed to 3. Plukranos is a big beater and blocker, which is nice. Loses the kind. Everything loses in combat. Maybe we take out the Plukranos, as they don't have haste. Go down 1. There's so many then where they don't have... Okay, well that's what we're going to try. Got lucky there with our opponent not getting the hammer or any way of finding it. Oh, the Ozolith. I've yet to play the Ozolith. No Hydras to go with it. Force of Vigor is good. With something to pitch. And some spot removal. So we're going to keep this. This is our second match ever with the Hydra deck. And I've never got to see the Ozolith in action other than against me in Hardened Scales Affinity. Seems like a very powerful card. They're mulling to 5. Digging for something. Now this is where the shenanigans start. Most Hammer Time decks I've played have some main deck trickeration to protect their things, and then they bring in more from the sideboard, so that's what I'm expecting here. So we'll need to make sure we time our Force of Vigors correctly on our opponent's turn when they're tapped down so that they can't protect. Ugh. Alright. We have 6 too. I was going to say what we should have done is, I mean, we could just pitch this Force of Vigor to blow up this enchant, this Urza Saga. So let's put up an upkeep, stop, untap, set stop. Okay. Never F6 apparently. Oh, I hope they don't have another protection spell. That would have been the second time that untap. That would be the second time we've gotten punished by not casting Force of Vigor. Why didn't we do that? I want to cast by exiling a green card from my hand. Choose up to 2 target. There we go. I did not do it right is why. I'm going to float the mana. Or are we going to get max punished? Looks like we might be getting max punished here, folks. And this is something that happened before where no, we did not. Thank goodness. I'm about to say, if Force of Vigor, you obviously can only cast it for free on your opponent's turn. Yeah, in one of my affinity games with a different deck, I just was I don't know, letting it go through, and they scoop up the match. Well, sometimes that's all it takes to slow down your opponent who mulled to 5. The life lesson that I was going to finish is that you need to not just F6 even through turn 1. We could have done that in the end of their turn and not had to run the risk that they had one of their protection spells up. We weren't drawing particularly well, so that was definitely like stealing a game because we hated them out of their on the mull to 5 by getting rid of so much. I'm not sure they should have scooped, but I can't blame them. Opponent Force of Vigors you on turn 1. But yeah, doing that on the end of their turn, at the end of their turn 1, they still could have tapped the Ornithopter for a protection spell, but it did cut back on the chances that they had it because they got to draw stuff. Yeah, they didn't. So either way, I guess they could have protected it. But the lesson there is don't just F6 even through turn 1 when you have your free spells in hand. That can only be cast free on your opponent's turn. But yeah, I was saying we got punished one time where we just sort of just planned it, not really thinking, clicked OK through some, our opponent's turn, one of these early turns, and then they had all the protection spells for the Force of Vigors that we cast later. That if we had cast it on time, would have changed the whole dynamic of the game. All right, well, that was a bit of a free win, but we did see how Hydras in game 1 were able to keep up and got lucky they didn't have the hammer, but that's not, I don't know, luck is part of the game. We hit our Hydras on time, we ramped into them, we executed our game plan, our opponent stumbled a little bit, and we got there. So to me, if your deck in Modern in executing its game plan can win those types of matches and those types of games, then it has a chance. If you're executing your game plan against an opponent who is missing a little bit, stumbling a little bit there, and you're still losing those types of games, then maybe you need to rethink your deck. So we brought in our sideboard hated them out in game 2. So yeah, I think this deck has definitely competitive, right? We'll run it through a league eventually, but I don't know. Someone in the comments can tell me what kind of win rate are we looking for. Usually decks that win 60% of the time too much end up getting banned. So what is 50% what we're shooting for, meaning it's a tier 1 deck? So what are Hydras right now? We're 2-0, but what would I expect them to be? I mean, I would say, based on my limited experience, I would expect them to be like a 30 to 40% win rate. I would like to be pleasantly surprised otherwise, but those 2-3s that typically janky tier 2 decks get in the leagues, at least in my experience. If you're new to cyclesgaming.com, this is not your place to find tier 1 decks. This is your place to find janky fun strategies that are you don't see everywhere or anywhere in some cases, and that have sweet synergies and are really fun to play. And that's what this deck is. Sweet synergies, really fun to play, very powerful, top end, can close out games, can win games.
we'll see how they keep up with some of the best decks in a later point. But for now, this is Johnny Cycles for CyclesGaming.com. I'll catch y'all on the next one. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky with Johnny Cycles. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website, CyclesGaming.com, for original Magic the Gathering content. You can read about my Commander decks or my Janky Modern brews. My latest article is about the Zombie Precon and its effect on Commander. I give you a couple different deck lists. If you're interested in a science fiction / fantasy novel, be sure to check out my book, The Podcon. I'm publishing it serially, a couple chapters every month. Again, thanks for watching. Check me out on YouTube, Johnny Cycles. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.